knows what you should be doing, even though they don't know your life, your stories, your desires, your fears, your family, your obligations. I'm hoping this podcast gives you the opportunity to think about what you want, to listen to your still small voice. Welcome back this week. So the day I am recording this is August 1st of 2026, which is the halfway point between summer and fall. So we are now, amazingly, halfway through summer officially, because, summer started in the middle of June, but in our world, summer starts almost a month or so, depending on what calendar you're on or what the weather's like, than that. But we are halfway. There is a word that I've actually titled this podcast, but I have no idea how to say it. And I did not make the computer talk to me and tell me how to say it correctly. And I also don't trust the computer to tell me how to say it correctly. So it is known in some of the, I don't even want to say pagan religions because that's not fair to say. I know that's a description, but it is a harvest festival, essentially. Lughnasadh, I don't know. Lughnasadh, I'm wrong, and I have a last name with a Z, so I get it. I'm wrong. I'm sorry. But it is a harvest festival because, in theory now, if you are planting things to eat, they are being harvested, at least for the first harvest. So that is where this day kind of comes along. And you, depending on where you are, you may or may not see a change in the weather, kind of a change in the trees and the things that are growing around you. There is some fascinating folklore that goes with this if you do want to go down the research of the interwebs. And I thought this was really, the one I really thought was funny was that there's one of them about fighting for the grain to stay in nature and then fighting for the grain to go to the humans, and they make that in some, there's two gods fighting over a woman who is the harvest or something. That one was weird, but the one that really hit me is in the Irish myths is what they're saying. It's it's a tale of Persephone, essentially, about a woman who is carried off or held against her will, or who dies of grief, shame, exhaustion, or unspecified natural causes. So there's the other one in Ireland, like that. There's this woman who was said to have died of exhaustion after clearing the plains when she was harvesting. Find all of these kind of poignant and fascinating that for thousands of years, this time of year has a festival to celebrate the fact that women are exhausted. So maybe this problem might not be so new, but that's a side note for a whole nother podcast, a whole nother time, probably a whole nother set of ideas and thoughts than necessarily coming with listening to your still small voice. Though I would agree that is a huge, huge part of it, but I don't think I need to get into a rant today about that. So again, festivals, customs, and for me today, it has been not as humid, been able to be outside, still in the 80s, but a dry 80s, which has been lovely. And it is overcast today, which is perfect because I am also feeling like the woman who has been harvesting and is over it. Not that I have absolutely anything to show for it. I've been taking it easy. Once July is over, I tend to breathe a sigh of relief. And I know that August is still an intense month with the heat and just with everybody who's been overstimulated for all this time. And we want to make sure we get the rest of their summer, get everything out of it before it gets cold and dark again. And so I know that there is still that push for overstimulation, and I think especially in people who don't realize that they are being pushed overstimulated. Have you ever watched the people who think they should keep doing more and then they keep doing more and you see how manic they get? Yeah, I feel like August is that time. So maybe I am erring too far on the side of caution, but I have found, since I tend to be much more kind of excitable and I can pick up anxiety much easier, I almost have to be a little overkill to keep myself on a little more evener of a keel. I'm not saying that I succeed. I usually don't. So I'm already feeling it. We're only at August 1st. And I know that it's about 6 months still of super, super hot, high heat. And then through the end of September, it's going to be warm and it's going to be hot where I am. And I know for some people it's hot forever and been talking a lot more about, or at least thinking for me a lot more about, like, if you really were to live in a climate that suited you, what would that be? I think a lot of us end up in places for various reasons. And does it suit us? Or did we not even know there could be a climate that suited us? I only recently have like, wow, I should probably live in the Pacific Northwest because I believe that gray days are the best and I feel best in them. I feel best without having the sun shining down on me. And I'm like, wow, you probably, for weather-wise, would be definitely suited to the Pacific Northwest. Not that I have any reason to move there or want to, but it's just interesting to think about when you do have the capacity, when you're kind of realizing that, like, you just fell into whatever whoever around you kind of told you you could or should do. Maybe you moved when you became a young adult, or maybe there was a job that relocated you, or a partner, or, you know, something for your children or for your parents for that matter, and you are where you are. But when you really think about it, like, how the heck did I end up here? And I mean, I'm here and I'm going to make the best of it, but what does that look like? And if I could voluntarily do it over again with no consequences, what would that be? Where would I be? And the thought that I would be in the Pacific Northwest is kind of fascinating. I don't think I'm tempered for that, but I know for weather, I definitely am. So we're in a change of season, whether or not it seems like we're in a change of season. And I find this time, once we hit this date, it is a little easier to be a bit more introspective than it was in the last couple months. And again, maybe that's why I'm thinking about the Pacific Northwest and I'm thinking about all of those things. So it's just things to think about when we don't realize the changes, the little subtle changes that we might not even see are probably affecting us in larger ways. And again, if you've got a few moments, going down the Harvest Festival rabbit hole is some fascinating stuff. At the same time, you know, August still is a gathering time. At the same time, it's still, people still have get-togethers and vacations and all these things that still do happen, which I feel like have kind of are a different version of that Harvest Festival, getting back together. What are we doing? How are you doing? And kind of, I hope, I've never done these things in August, but like, how's your year? Kind of harvesting that year and how, you know, kind of the check-in point, which I think can be nice to do outside of the traditional New Year's or any other day or your birthday, that kind of give you a different perspective on how things are going. So I am spending a little more time this month, conscious to spend a little more time this month, doing a little more introspection. I'm not feeling it completely, but I'm going to hold myself to it a little more as I am pivoting once again on what I really want to be producing in the world versus what I decided to just do just to see if I could do it or for the fun of it. You know how we start things and just to see, at least my voice has told me to start things just to see, and they have been wonderful, amazing things, and I couldn't imagine my life without them. And then there have been some things where it's like, yep, I got the lesson. It is time to shut that down and take the lesson and move on. So I'm going to spend a little more time this month doing some more quiet, introspective, asking some questions of myself, and reading the answers that I did when I asked those questions of myself 2 years ago, and seeing what's changed and seeing what's the same, and trying not to despair if it seems like everything's the same. So I'm hoping for this harvest weekend for you, whatever that is. And again, normally I would bake bread, but I'm not feeling it to bake bread this year. It's just not in me. Maybe I'll bake scones tomorrow, but we'll see what happens. Again, I hope this change in season brings you what you need, gives you the excuse to do what you need to do. And as always, I will see you next week, at least for the foreseeable 2 months. And as always, keep listening. See you then.
Thanks for joining me today, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next time. If you enjoyed this episode, I'm so glad. If you didn't, that's great too. Thanks for giving it a try. You can do all the things: subscribe, rate, review, emoji it up if you feel so called. I appreciate any feedback you have. Please reach out to me on Facebook at The Still Small Voice Whisperer.